a chance to actually catch up with Force family matriarch Courtney Force a little bit earlier today, and I asked her what was more difficult to watch, her daughters or her husband drive these 11,000 horsepower vehicles, and he said absolutely her daughters. She said at this point in his career, John has seen it all and experienced it all, but her daughters have not. That sometimes worries her.
Well, it's a bittersweet weekend for Courtney, too, who says goodbye to longtime PR person Sarah Adams. Best of luck to her. She moves on to a new venture. See if Jeff Deal, the surfer, can ride the wave and knock off Courtney. If you said yes, he can. Oh, hold on. Courtney got it turned sideways, and I believe she collected the wall. Eerily reminiscent, perhaps, of Ashley's incident here from 2007. You know, Courtney was in there trying to get that car corrected to see if she could chase down Jeff. Good news, though, the top comes off, and Courtney's able to climb out. There's Brittany back on the starting line trying to figure out what went wrong with Traxxas car on this pass. Oh, yes, she did. Look at the K-rail. Again, eerily reminiscent of what we saw from Alexis DeJoria just last week. Tony, she's just in there trying to get that car to cooperate, see if she can chase down Jeff Deal.
Well, any driver, we have this assumption that the car is going to go down the racetrack. So what happened was Jeff Deal started to pull away from her when her car lost traction. That becomes a distraction to the point that you can no longer get in and out of the throttle as well as you normally would. Drivers condition themselves to react when the car shakes just before it loses traction. So this is a classic case of her getting back into the throttle when the car wasn't positioned straight, and it'll go into the wall. That's a very hard hit, a lateral hit. I've broken ribs before. We can only hope that she's okay.
Cars can be replaced. Humans, though, sometimes take time to heal. Alexis DeJoria with a fractured pelvis in an incident similar to this. Right now, we just hope everything is okay with Courtney. NHRA Safety Safari is quick on the scene, and you can see they are definitely treating her with kid gloves, working on getting that helmet off first.
It's just a car. That can be replaced. That can't.
In slow motion, you can really kind of get an idea, perhaps, that this car is getting crossed up quickly.
The car has already lost traction, so what a driver instinctively does is get back on the throttle. And when you see your opponent that's out there and not completely pulling away, it's just automatic that we get back in the throttle. But as you can see, the car has regained traction, but here it goes, having too much power or too much clutch and going back into that tire smoke. Now the sidewall has grown.
Off the throttle, see the TRX? I wonder if she's going to jump back on it one more time or if it's already passed. Again, here comes Jeff Deal, and she's looking at that, but a scary moment. With everything else that's gone on in the world of motorsports, both last week with Alexis, this week with Brian Clausen, you can tell she is definitely feeling the effects of that right now. So the ambulance is now on the scene, and while they attend to her, we're going to step away. We'll be back with more. It's the 29th Protect the Harvest Northwest Nationals rolls on. Good luck, Court.
Again. She was having some... So we just experienced a rather significant impact for Courtney Force, a scary moment for everyone. Courtney looked to be okay. Obviously, she was a little shooken up. They put her in an ambulance right away and took her off. She said that she was having some slight leg discomfort, feeling a little beat up, but I think she's going to be no worse for the wear. As far as the car, the header's banged up on the one side, some damage to the side of the car, but all in all, it looks like she's doing pretty well, all things considered.
Well, it'll be interesting, Bruno, to see how she feels after that adrenaline wears off. As you can see, the car looks like it's no worse for the wear, all except for the headers. They're obviously damaged. We talked about the fact that this incident, which we're going to go ahead and take a look at right now again, Tony, is eerily similar to a couple of others, but let's start with what just happened.
Oh, if you look and see where the car loses traction, and go back a week ago with Alexis DeJoria's impact, this car was much farther down the track. It had a lot more momentum. It had a lot more energy going into that wall.
I mentioned one very similar to her sister, Ashley Force. This was right here at this racetrack in 2007. The car noses into the wall, but we're in that tower, and with all the flames and the heat contrails, until we got a chance to see that, That's why I thought maybe that looked alike, but this is the one we were just talking about 7 days ago. Boom, big wall slapper for Alexis DeJoria, who we know is home, resting, waiting to go to physical rehabilitation. It's got to be tough for her to watch that, having been through the same thing just 7 days ago.
Well, it is. You know, when Alexis got out of the car, you know, one of the things that she mentioned, she knew the adrenaline was flowing, and it was when she came down off of that pain started to sink in. And the biggest difference between a lateral impact versus a frontal impact, the frontal impact, it absorbs all the energy from the front. Lateral, it's much harder on the driver.
For John Force, all that much more pressure as he tries to make NHRA history by sweeping the swing for a second time. But for the 16-time champ, it all started with one simple wish. John Force is in this week's Mellow Yellow Spotlight.